It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Joe Cangelosi, who plays for the Carolina Thunderbirds. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to play professional hockey?
Honestly, I never knew. It kind of happened. Obviously, growing up, any young hockey player wants to just play in the NHL, but nobody told anybody like that there's more to it than just that. So growing up, you kind of figure out where you stand as a hockey player and where you think you're going. And the way that I went through playing youth and juniors, I was fortunate enough to get a chance to play at the pro level, and obviously I've been there for about now 5 years.
What was it like playing in the pro level for 5 years?
Obviously, it was a bit of a culture shock in the beginning because you have an expectation of what professional hockey is supposed to be like, and obviously there's a learning curve where you understand that not everything is going to run smoothly. Obviously, at any given time, there's going to be some type of problem that somebody's going to have to overcome, either logistically with the travel and getting off of a 15-hour ride to go play a game, or being stuck in the middle of nowhere at a gas station for 8 hours before a game. So you learn a lot of different things. You learn to how to prepare properly, and then you try to take that and you show the younger guys as much as you can. But it's never boring here. It's definitely interesting, I'll tell you that.
What was your time like playing for the Watertown Wolves?
Watertown was actually the first team that I played for in this league. It was definitely interesting stepping into a pro locker room for the first time. You usually just sit there and absorb as much as you can. You don't try to go in there and be a loud voice for no reason. You just want to see how things are, try to gauge everything, and try to fit in pretty much.
Of course, what was it like playing that being your first professional game?
It was obviously a little nervous at any time playing for a new team, but that quickly went away as soon as you start getting into the game and stuff like that. So it wasn't too long just to get comfortable, but it was definitely, it's in the back of your mind as your first game. You're like, all right, let's try to make a big impact here so that people want you to stay.
What was the transition like from going from Watertown Wolves to now the Carolina Thunderbirds?
That was actually a pretty simple transition. Actually, the coach at the time, Andre, was coaching in Berlin when I was in Watertown, so he was a little familiar with me. So when the opportunity came down to come down here and give it a try, he took me, and obviously I've been here for 5 years now.
Can you talk about, of course, what it was like signing your first contract and being affiliated with the Carolina Hurricanes?
Um, I didn't even know about affiliation wise, but I mean, obviously it's always exciting to, be presented papers that you wanted to be, that a team wants you and an organization wants you. So that's always exciting. So yeah, it's just happy to be here and work hard and try to win.
What was it like the first time you put on the Carolina Thunderbirds jersey?
I'm not sure if you've seen our jerseys, but they're exactly like Chicago Blackhawks, so it's kind of cool. I think we have a pretty good jersey scheme with our logo and everything. So it was a fun time for sure.
Of course, during media day, was it like to get all your photos done with being in the Carolina Thunderbirds?
If I was honest, you wouldn't believe me. Out of the 4 seasons, I was only here for media day one for one of those seasons, and that was the second year. So media day wasn't anything crazy. I mean, it's just a quick couple of hours. It was nothing crazy, but it's always fun to watch, try to mess around with the guys too that are trying to get their pictures. You know, you got some guys that need to have the perfect hair, perfect smile and everything. It's always fun to mess around with them, but media day is always a fun day.
What is a typical game day like for you with the Carolina Thunderbirds?
Well, usually at home we'll have like a morning skate around 10:30, so we're usually at the rink around 9:30. Morning skate, go to lunch, come back, get a little rest before heading back to the rink, and then I'm usually there 3 hours before I like to get there really early, make sure everything's good, but we don't have to be there till like 2 hours before. So then we have the game, and that's pretty much a normal game day for us here.
Do you have any game day traditions and rituals that you do?
I wouldn't say like any rituals. I mean, I have my routine. I just, you come to the rink, I tape my sticks, I usually go for a little walk around the rink, nothing crazy. I don't like to change up anything. It's always the same, win or lose. I don't want to get out of my routines really.
What was it like for you to play this year during COVID?
That one was a little tough. Obviously, being in North Carolina, we had capacity restrictions in our arena, so we were unable to play at home this year. So all 20 of our games were on the road, and the season was only for us. It was only like 47 days. So we ended up traveling like 7,500 miles in 47 days for 20 games. So the travel was tough. Obviously, being with the guys all the time was fun, but it was good to have a season. Honestly, having a full year off would not have been fun, but so I think everybody was excited that we were able to play.
Who are some teams that the Carolina Thunderbirds play?
Well, the COVID season we played Port Huron Prowlers, Elmira Enforcers, and the Columbus River Dragons. This upcoming year, I believe we're going to have 8 teams in the league. So we're going to have Watertown Wolves going to come back. Danbury Hat-Tricks are coming back. Delaware Thunder is coming back. And now a new team in the league, the Binghamton Black Bears, that will be joining in. So we're going to have an 8-team league again. So that's going to be fun instead of playing everybody 20 times. So we'll see how that goes.
What was the feeling like for you as soon as you had your name on the back of your jersey?
That one took a while, and it made it even that much better. So I think it took like 3 or 4 weeks to get it in. So as soon as it was up there, it was good to see it.
What are some of your biggest accomplishments you have with the Carolina Thunderbirds?
I'd have to say it's definitely winning the Commissioner's Cup in 2019. That has to be the biggest accomplishment. There's nothing like going through a whole season with a group of guys and being able to win a championship from it. So that's definitely the biggest accomplishment.
Can you talk about, of course, winning the Commissioner's Cup and what it was like hoisting it up?
Well, so our series is best of 5, and we were up 2-0 going into Elmira. So I think it was kind of expected that we were going to try to take care of them in game 3, but obviously that wasn't the case. We ended up like losing like 8-2, I think. So game 4, you're like, all right, we got one game behind us, not a big deal. Like, let's take care of it now. It started to get a little too close. That game ended up going into overtime, and then we were fortunate enough. Big Jan Salak was there to score the overtime game winner for us. So that was pretty exciting. The initial, especially winning it that like sudden in overtime, was pretty exciting. And then obviously hoisting the cup was fun. It was fun for like a minute, and then I was ready to move on to the next thing. So
Who are some players that you look up to and implement your game after?
when I was younger, it was odd. Like I'm a center, so like even like when I was younger, I liked a lot of defensemen. But like when I got older, like when I was playing juniors and stuff, like I was a big fan of Mike Richards when he was with the Flyers and the Kings. He was a good 2-way centerman. he was obviously a little bit more skilled and smaller than me, but, try to do something like that, try to be a guy to lead by example, so he was one of the bigger guys, I think, that I liked to watch.
Of course, what is the process like to get called up into the NHL?
Well, it's way harder if you're down at this level, but obviously it always depends on whichever route a lot of players go. Like you have major juniors where a lot of guys get drafted out of, and then obviously now in recent years a lot more players have been getting drafted out of the USHL in America. Some guys go to college. Some guys are undrafted. They have good college years. They get signed as free agents. So there's many different ways to make it to somewhere. It's just a matter of, being in the right place at the right time, realistically.
What are some of your future plans in your hockey professional career?
Honestly, right now I'm living it year by year. Trying not to plan anything too far out because, you never know what's going to happen. You can't plan for everything exactly to happen the way you want it to be. So right now, just take it season by season, see how things are, see how, obviously guys get banged up throughout the years. So, everybody knows you can't play it forever, but, you want to play it forever. So we're going to try to stick it out as long as you can.
What is something that you learn now that you didn't know before becoming a professional athlete and playing professional hockey?
Like I said, before, there's a lot of stuff that you think should be done certain ways that you quickly learn that it's completely done a different way. So you have to be able to adapt pretty quickly, stuff like that. And, you got to make the best of a situation, whatever it is. So you got to be flexible for sure. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned throughout the years.
What advice would you give college hockey players looking to play professional hockey?
I think any advice would just to be, try not to get discouraged quickly. I think there's a lot of guys that have been around places that obviously they think that they should be somewhere where they're not right now, but you got to trust the process, honestly. You just got to stick with it. And, the harder you work at it, the easier stuff's going to happen for you. So if there was any advice I'd give is just be persistent and keep working hard at it.
What advice would you give current and future professional athletes playing hockey?
I mean, it's pretty much the same, being resilient, honestly. But I think a lot of players, yeah, I mean, honestly, realistically, it's the same thing. Just, work hard and, stick around and just be a good team guy, realistically. That's because that's all, at the end of the day, you're there for the team. You want to help no matter what. And that's pretty much it.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
I'm not a big social media guy. I do have a social media presence, but Instagram, you can find me, Joe.Cangelosi. And other than that, that's all I got, I think.
Thank you again, Joe, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Carolina Thunderbirds.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Joe, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the Carolina Thunderbirds.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.